Hey, this is Zulem Urbina, and tune into the relay for the latest news in boxing all around the world. Thank you for supporting myself and other female boxers. We truly appreciate it.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
Okay, we'll start with this. Reigning WBO Super Bantamweight Champion of France, Segalene Lefarve, posted this fight poster via her social media. It appears she will be returning to action in the fall, in late October, on the 29th, and in that way, we are a ways out from the actual fight date. Peculiar, as it was Segalene Lefarve who took to social media not but a day or so ago to call out another champion at this weight, Shernika Johnson, this division's reigning IBF champion. New Zealand-born, Australian-based Shernika Johnson, who just became this division's IBF champion in her last fight. Segalene took to social media to call her out with aspirations of unifying titles with her so soon after Shernika got that blue belt. Curious that she would call her out when she did only a day or so before she announced her next fight date, October the 29th. Is it because Segalene Lefarve aspires to land her as her opponent for that fight date in October, or is she calling out Shernika for call-out's sake? I mean, what's going on?
She trying to get her to fight her in October? Is it just a call-out for call-out's sake?
Your guess is just as good as mine. Segalene Lefarve's next opponent hasn't been announced. The fight itself, it's not yet registered on BoxRec, so whoever it is that Segalene is going to be fighting in October, we don't know who it is.
Not yet, we don't.
I don't get the sense it will be Shernika Johnson. I don't get the sense that it will be Shernika that has to get her passport out. WBA champion at this weight, Segalene Lefarve, reigning WBA champion. She's a matchroom fighter. And if there were going to be some kind of unification match between Segalene and Segalene, one would think it would be part of a matchroom show as it stands.
This promotion that Segalene's going to be fighting on, it's not a matchroom show. It's not a matchroom promotion.
I don't get the sense that Mexico's own WBC champion at this weight, Jamie Mercado, is
the next fight
who Segalene will be facing in late October. No, I don't get the sense that her next fight is a unification match against a champion like herself. Segalene Lefarve was last in action earlier this year in May. It was her first fight of this year. This fight coming up in October appears to be the second. The fight with Melania Soroche earlier this year was Segalene's first fight of this year, and that was her first successful defense of her newly obtained WBO title, the title she obtained late last year in November against Paulette Valenzuela.
So she was in action late last year, in action again earlier this year.
And she's set to be in action again all the way out there in October. It's a ways out. Boxing being the unpredictable sport that it is, a lot can go wrong between now and October, though it does afford the powers that be, Segalene's handlers, ample time to secure her an opponent. Got plenty of time to do it.
Segalene's 29 years old.
Sporting a professional record of 16 wins, no losses, no draws, with one knockout.
One.
Respectable record. Fought several fighters with winning records. Couple of journeywomen here and there. It's what you expect to see in a fighter's first couple of fights, but for the most part, Segalene Lefarve,
she's got a respectable resume, amassed good professional experience over time.
Solid resume, solid fighter, solid champion, unbeaten. It's a bit unusual to see a fight card announced so far out from the actual fight date, and what inferences we can make based on that is that we can't expect to see Segalene Lefarve take on any of Matchroom's unbeaten up-and-comers at this weight, not if she's already spoken for, set to return in October. We can't bank on seeing her against Ramla Ali, should Ramla be successful on the undercard of Cesaro versus Pulev 2. We can't bank on seeing Segalene against Ellie Scottney.
Cotford. Essentially what I'm getting at is if her next fight date is in October, we can't bank on seeing her anytime in between now and October.
And what that means is, unless Segalene and her team change their mind, no unification matches with any of the other champions at this weight between now and October. No fights with any of Matchroom's Valkyries between now and October, because I reiterate, Segalene appears to be spoken for.
That's the look of it.
She went as far as posting a fight poster for a fight that's supposed to go down all the way out there in October.
I don't get the sense there are going to be any impromptu matches scheduled to go down between now and October.
Now y'all tell me this, answer me this, right? How is two titles vacant? Two fucking titles vacant, and I'm not fighting for either one of them. That shit don't make sense, bro. I was supposed to fight for the WBA. You saw what they did, right? And now the WBC, they got Ramirez and Jose Cepeda fighting each other for the WBC. And how I'm not even in the mix. First off, my last fight was a mandatory. If you know what mandatory means, that means I'm supposed to be next. I'm supposed to be right there next, right? What the fuck is going on, bro? Like, for real, what is going on? How am I even not fighting for either one of them? This shit is insane. Like, this shit not making sense. This shit is insane, bro. I don't even know what to say, bro. Somebody fix this, please.
Well, ideally, it would be Regis Prograis' handlers and his promoter that fixes this situation. It was in October of last year that Regis Prograis signed to the fledgling promotional outfit Pro Bellum.
Yeah.
He called it a no-brainer.
He characterized why he signed to Pro Bellum.
And he has fought under the promotional banner at least once over there in the Far East in Dubai as part of a Pro Bellum show. But signing to them, it really hasn't panned out. And if I'm being honest, it's been a very long time since Regis Prograis fought in a fight of some significance, of some value. As far as why he hasn't fought for one of the major alphabet titles yet, well, it's because he's not in line for any of the major alphabet titles. Not by way of the WBA and not by way of the WBC. He's ranked just behind Jose Ramirez and Jose Zapata, who are set to fight for the newly vacated green belt, the newly vacated WBC title.
If he holds that position, maybe he can become the mandatory challenger for the winner.
This is no travesty. There's no conspiracy against Regis Prograis here. Put simply, he hasn't been fighting in the right kind of fights. And the fights that he has been fighting in, well, they're really not of any significance. Not even his Pro Bellum debut.
Which looks to have been a WBC eliminator of some sort, but not a WBC final eliminator, I guess not.
It couldn't have been, because before news broke that Josh Taylor had vacated the green belt, the mandatory challenger to the green belt was Jose Zapata. Jose Ramirez only came into it afterwards, after Josh vacated the title, and the WBC had to find two guys to fight for that green belt, that newly vacated title. Those two guys, Jose Ramirez, Jose Zapata, those are the top two guys in their rank standing. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a no-brainer.
I want to say that Regis Prograis is a phenomenal talent.
He's world class, really is. And it's a shame to see that talent squandered in these pointless fights that he's been fighting in since having fought in the World Boxing Super Series. You would have expected much more for Regis Prograis, who's easily one of the best fighters in today's 140-pound division, but he's just been circling on the outskirts, and it seems to be a self-inflicted wound. I mean, why sign to Pro Bellum?
Might have seemed like a good idea at the time, though it's not panning out.
Pro Bellum, that many people suspect is just another arm of Daniel Kinahan's operation over there in Dubai. No formal connection has been made, you understand, but people, they can connect the dots.
They are connecting the dots, and that's what they suspect.
I don't think being associated with Pro Bellum is helping Regis' situation. You know, anybody that sees this guy, anybody with eyes can see that this guy's a world-class fighter, a former champion. He's all those things, but he's not associated with a top rank. He's not associated with a matchroom.
This guy's a former champion and an established fighter, but he's not with an established promotional outfit. Why is that?
Why isn't he with a matchroom? Why isn't he with a top rank?
What led him to jump into bed with a fledgling promotional outfit that was just getting started? Why didn't he go with one of those outfits?
Did he try to go with a top rank? Did he try to go with a matchroom? Was there a dialogue and he didn't like the money? There are serious questions there, because this is a world-class guy, and, you know, he's a bit of a hot potato now. High-risk, low-reward guy. What do you really get for fighting Regis Prograis?
Nothing.
Being in bed with Pro Bellum, that's not helping his situation. What the hell can they do for him?
Nothing.
Him not being in line to fight for a title, it's no travesty, it's more of a tragedy that you have a world-class fighter like a Regis Prograis, but it seems like people he's associated with, they're not putting him in line for anything. And that's not going to change so long as his decorum doesn't change. You know, right now he's a hot potato.
He's asking how is it that there are two vacant alphabet titles and he can't fight for either of them.
Ask your manager. Ask your promoter. What have they been doing all this time to get you in line to fight for one of those vacant alphabet titles? I reiterate, he's not in line by way of the WBA, that's established. And by way of the WBC, he comes in at number 3, but there are two other guys ranked ahead of him. Those are the breaks.
It was in April of this year that Daniel Kinahan was sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury.
I want to stifle as much of Daniel's business operations as they can. And Pro Bellum, tenuously, is supposed to be associated with Daniel Kinahan, though no formal connection has been made. Not yet. Regis Prograis was last in action earlier this year in March on the undercard of Sonny Edwards versus Muhammad Wasim. Why don't Pro Bellum get this guy another fight?
What's going on with Pro Bellum?
Richard Schaefer, a familiar face in the world of boxing. He's supposed to be the head of that thing. Why don't Regis Prograis levy his questions?
Ask him, when are you going to fight for a title?
Videos, I support it. I appreciate it. It was all love. Now you motherfucking getting on YouTube and keep motherfucking talking crazy like motherfucking say I ain't for my people. How the fuck I'm not for my people, bruh? Basically, I support Bam. Lil Bam, he say I look up to Bam and I support Bam more than I support myself or some shit like that. Like what? Bro, the little dude nice, bro. I respect skills, bro. It don't got nothing to do with race. He saying I'm saying it because I wanna have my Mexican fan base. I wanna keep the Mexican fan base thumping, like, hey, y'all support me, but it's still like, yo, I don't care what it is, bro. At the end of the day, bro, I support skills at the end of the day. Lil Bam can fight. When I speak on Boots can fight. When I speak on Keyshawn can fight. Just, I don't like people painting narratives about me. Then I see people later on, they gonna be like, oh, well, Shakur, I don't think you're for the culture. Or like, nah, I'm for every bit for the culture. Like, to all y'all, like, I really show love, especially like, even like the black media, like, I really show y'all love too. So I don't get why you would go on YouTube and put a whole story out about. Then he posted something 2 weeks ago that I ignored. I didn't ignore dude. Like, dude posted something and said, he said, I did an interview with a racist in Paulie Malignaggi. Yo, I swear to God, even if Paulie is racist, if he not, I don't know. I don't know nothing about him being racist. He hit me up for an interview. I did an interview. I don't know nothing about none of that. Like, that's not nothing. I don't know if he said something racist. I don't know what y'all got going. I don't know that. That's new to me. So, like, for you to even post that is like trying to put a false narrative about me, basically. Like, I'm rocking with racist dudes and I don't know. I still don't know. I never researched anything about Paulie being racist. Fucking bullshit, bro. Stop talking about me, bro. Stop that, bro. I be showing y'all people too much love for y'all to motherfucking sit there and try to bash me like I'm not for my people. Dude really threw me under the bus on his YouTube channel because he got beef with Top Rank or whatever white people or however it go, you got beef with them. Don't throw me under the bus in the process, bro, because that's contradicting your whole statement. You literally throwing another young black successful athlete under the bus because of the fact that you got beef with them. They put these pound for pound lists together and say this or do whatever. That's not me, bro. It's not me. I feel how I feel about certain situations at the end of the day, but motherfucking, man, I'm just saying, man.
Seems that young Shakur Stevenson, unified 2-division champion young Shakur Stevenson, has had a bad experience with one of the more prominent YouTube channels here in the YouTube boxing community. It appears to be Dante's Boxing Nation that he's talking about, who propagated certain narratives about young Shakur Stevenson for the simple fact that Shakur paid Bam Rodriguez, a fighter, a champion that a lot of people are high on right now, having beaten 2 of the 4 kings in the super flyweight division. Shakur Stevenson thought it prudent to pay him a compliment, and for that,
Already the narrative pushers are pushing their narrative.
this has gone on unchecked for a long time here in the YouTube boxing community. The Glovegate conspiracy that was propagated for the most part by content creators, that's just one arm of it. One example that I think got out of control, and a lot of people made a lot of money saying a lot of things that weren't true, that weren't proven.
Propagating narratives.
Wasn't that long ago that one of the Churlo brothers blasted a content creator here on YouTube for saying things about them that weren't true.
So tell the blue blood, stay the fuck out my life and stay the fuck out my channels and stay the fuck out my business. Straight up.
These content creators are shameless in their practices. They'll say anything, do anything for clicks.
Slander anyone for any reason.
In the case of young Shakur Stevenson, for lavishing praise to his fellow fighter, doing an interview with former world champion, another fellow fighter. He's being accused of going against his own people, and by who?
The pseudo-civil rights activists of YouTube.
They're weaponized outrage in the form of extremist Afrocentrism. They want to create an environment where a fighter like Shakur Stevenson can't pay Bam Rodriguez a compliment. I mean, how fucking toxic is that?
Why are they doing that?
These content creators promote that toxicity, that negativity, because they profiteer from it. They profiteer.
They're hacks is what they are. They don't know shit about boxing.
Follow all fighters or all the divisions. They don't know anything about that. Thus, they can't aspire to turn over a profit off their boxing knowledge because they don't have any. What they gravitate towards are familiar themes in American culture, polarizing subjects that they use to sensationalize stories in the sport of boxing. Injecting
taboo themes and taboo subjects in places where they don't belong.
Boys, how do you turn Shakur Stevenson giving Bam Rodriguez a compliment for a career best performance into Shakur Stevenson going against his own people?
Shakur gives a guy a compliment, and you turn that into him being against his own people.
This has gone on for a long time. We've talked about it in passing here on the channel, and whenever a fighter takes time out to address it and dispel the narratives,
oh, it's refreshing because it needs to be done.
It's pitiful, pathetic what passes for content on some channels. Channels that are larger, older than this one is. But it's pretty pathetic what passes for content these days.
No originality, no research, no insight.
Some content creators turn over a profit by being interviewers, freelance journalists that attend events and press conferences, cover fights. Other content creators,
they do the legwork, they do the research, and talk about the prominent stories in the sport like we do here on this channel.
Relaying those stories to subscribers here on this channel, as news in the sport of boxing is fragmented. There are so many news sources these days.
It can be challenging to keep up with everything that's going on in the sport.
So you have channels like mine that discuss various stories, important ones in the sport of boxing, and then you have the clickbait channels. The channels that can't aspire to turn over a profit from their own boxing knowledge, as they have none. They aspire to turn over a profit through weaponized outrage and cancel culture, clickbait, sensationalist headlines,
manufactured stories and manufactured information.
But these channels manufacture themselves. You even got some guys that come up with their own pay-per-view buys by way of...
They'll say anything. They'll say just about anything to get people to watch their videos.
They'll go as far as saying that Shakur Stevenson has gone against his own people because he gave his fellow fighter a compliment after a career best win, a career best performance. How do you combat that level of toxicity? And it's simple, really. The silver lining is that these guys and their subscribers, their subscriber base, it doesn't represent.
The guys that watch those videos ain't the guys that pay for boxing.
Thus, pandering to that demographic is an exercise in futility that will have no tangible effect on the world of boxing because these individuals are not consumers of boxing.
So who gives a fuck what they think anyway?